Not only is Keir Starmer ridiculed by the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak for his acceptance of Natalie Elphicke into the party. Sunak makes the joke that Keir Starmer can accept Jeremy Corbyn one day and Natalie Elphicke the next. But other Labour MPs, for example, Rosie Duffield, are questioning the sense, the wisdom of recruiting ministers or members of parliament, not a minister. That indeed is part of the problem, apparently, that led to Natalie Elphicke's readiness to cross the floor, that she wasn't made a minister. But Rosie Duffield questions her leader's sanity, and particularly in the light of the news that she was lobbying, Natalie Elphicke was lobbying ministers over her ex-husband Charlie Elphicke's sexual assault case and the court case that ensued, as well as pouring scorn on the women who he had assaulted. She's now apologized to those women, but it doesn't change the fact that her judgment is perverse. Duffield said yesterday, I think most of us would rather have more left-leaning colleagues than somebody who's never supported the aims and value of the Labour Party. I think, like most Labour backbenchers that I've spoken to, there's a mix of fury and bafflement and a deep sense of betrayal, particularly if somebody like Diane Abbott is still outside the ranks of the Labour Party. Now, I think, in a way, it's not for me to make too many comments about the internal workings of the Labour Party, because I've never supported the Labour Party. I've been a great fan of individual Labour Party MPs, particularly those who are tremendous, or those who have been tremendous orators, because I love the art of oratory. I love a good speech. I love a good exchange in the Commons or in the House of Lords. Now I find I can only hear that or see that in the House of Lords. I don't see it in the House of Commons anymore. But the wonderful Tony Benn, the extraordinary Michael Foot, who never came across well on television, but oh my goodness, if you read his speeches in Hansard, you can see what an extraordinary character he was and how incredibly on the ball he was. And how so dramatically different he was to, for example, Margaret Thatcher, which made him such a and John Major, which made him such a formidable adversary, which never came across in either the sound bites on the wireless or indeed when television cameras were pulled in. As for Tony Benn, I mean, he is just he remained miraculous and extraordinary and irascible and frustrating to the very end, and naughty. He took a tape recorder in with him into the House of Commons from very early on, so that he could record what he'd actually said, because he didn't trust the people who were taking down the information in Hansard. And of course he was often forced to demand corrections to the Hansard record, and good on him. Jess Phillips has said, who represents Birmingham Yardley, who said it's a bit like being punched in the gut. Zara Sultana for Coventry South has said that Elphicke belonged to the ERG, the European Research Group, and was at odds with trade unions and not great on environmental issues. So unless she's had the biggest Damascene conversion ever, I'm not buying it. It's not and it's concerning as well, Sultana told the BBC. Sultana said that female MPs particularly were concerned about Elphicke's behaviour 4 years ago, when she was abusing, really, verbally abusing the people who had been assaulted by her then husband. And it's, as well as this constitutional outrage of approaching Robert Buckland. And indeed, I think I think she was fairly dismissive of Keir Starmer. I think she called him a big softy or something, or Sir Softy. And you know, why was she in Parliament? She was in Parliament because there was some sympathy for her as the wounded wife. She was in Parliament on a sympathy vote. And very successful as that. But the fact that she tended towards the far right, who is Sir Keir going to recruit next? Liz Truss? Because there are plenty of people who are frustrated with Rishi Sunak's command, who don't necessarily align with the values of the Labour Party. I worked it out the other day that if Sir Keir were to attract 15 more Conservative MPs, he wouldn't need a general election. He would automatically be the head of the largest party and presumably could be appointed Prime Minister. It's or at least could have a vote of confidence that he could be pretty certain he would win. In fact, you would only need another 7 defections to be sure of winning a vote of confidence, I think, because not everybody in the current Conservative Party can be leaned on by the whips to vote in favour of Rishi Sunak and the present cabinet, the government of the United Kingdom. So I think Rishi Sunak will be extremely lucky to last out until the autumn.